Hi everyone, welcome to Have You Heard? I'm Richard, and today we are going back to 1967. Oh dear. There's the vinyl, and here's the CD version of Retrospective, the best of Buffalo Springfield. Um, okay, now this was all happening 1967 in LA in the States, a little bit before my time, insofar as while I was loving the British music of 67, the Beatles and all of that, I didn't really know what was going on in the USA. However, once I discovered Crosby, Stills and Nash's debut album in '69, that's when all of that changed. And desperate as I was for info, music from David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, and then soon afterwards Neil Young, I started finding out about Buffalo Springfield. So I was way after the event. So it must have been about 70, 71 where I first started listening to this particular album. And I bought that album, I'm pretty certain, in 1971, I think. Anyway, the one track that I knew, well, I knew two. The first track was For What It's Worth. Of course, everybody got to know that track. Anyone who was interested in rock music at that time. And the other track was Bluebird. Now, I'm actually double thinking my timings now, because I think I first heard Bluebird on The New Age of Atlantic, that compilation album that had America by Yes on. And if that's where I first heard Bluebird, it would have been in 72. So perhaps I only bought this album in 72, now I think about it. But certainly I knew Bluebird, and I loved Bluebird. That whole New Age of Atlantic album, the standout tracks were America and Bluebird. And I want to play Bluebird today. It just consolidated my almost obsession with Stephen Stills, which still lives to this day. He's 81 now, Stephen, and still pretty healthy by the sounds of it. So that's wonderful. But I just love Stephen Stills, and we've done one Stephen Stills song before on the channel. We did what did we do? We did the song with Eric Clapton, "Go Back Home," when they're Stills and Clapton are trading guitar licks, and it's so good. And of course, we've done a Crosby, Stills and Nash song as well, but we need to do more. So there, fair warning. You're going to hear more. But let's listen first of all to Bluebird. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome, and like and subscribe if you enjoy yourself, and go back into the playlists that are linked below, because there's tons of nice music to listen to there. But here we are. We're going to listen to Bluebird, which there are three versions that were made of this. There's a single at about 2 minutes and a few seconds. There's the album version, which is what we're going to listen to now, and then there's a 9 or 10 minute jam version that Stephen and Neil worked on, but I've never heard. So this is the album version, about 4.5 minutes. Bluebird by Buffalo Springfield.
Listen to my bluebird laugh. She can't tell you why. Deep within her heart, you see, she knows all the crying, just lying. Yeah. sits aloft a perch, strangest color blue. Flying is forgotten now, thinks only of you, just you. Oh, so get all those blues, must be 1,000 years, and each is differently used. You just know, you sit there mesmerized by the depth of her eyes. If you could categorize, she got soul, she got soul, she got soul, she got soul. Do you think she loves you? Do you think at soon she's going to fly away. Sadness is her own. Give herself a bath of tears and go home and go home.
Oh, I do enjoy that song. um, it is it's a prime example of early Stephen Stills and his kind of ferocious devotion to perfection in the studio. I think he um, he wrote the song. He wanted it to be a big follow up to For What It's Worth. This is what I read anyway. And he wanted to have an acoustic song, but an acoustic song that would be able to live and be juxtaposed next to electric guitar. But he also wanted a kind of Appalachian rootsy feel. So he they tried to get Jack Nietzsche to produce, and he didn't want to do it. I think because he felt he would be dishonoring Neil Young and his connection with Neil Young. This is what I read, but that sounds a little bit weird. But anyway, that's the article I read. But anyway, he wasn't available. So Stephen and Bruce Botnick, the engineer, just got into the studio and they just messed around. This is 1967, so they messed around with the compressors and the um, equalizers and all of the stuff that they could do. They could play around with to try and bring up the sound of the acoustic guitar so it wouldn't get overpowered by the electric guitar. So you hear on that track, the acoustic is all Stephen, the electric is Neil, and you hear how shiny and bright that acoustic guitar is. It's so upfront, isn't it? And rings out at you. And I always loved that sound, and I wondered how on earth they were able to do that. It sounds very unlike any other acoustic guitar recording at that particular time. Um, it's a lovely song, and words that would later kind of be retreaded almost by Stephen in Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, his famous song from Crosby, Stills and Nash about Judy Collins. Lots of similar references, and people have said that maybe he was writing it here before he knew Judy, but he was thinking of a kind of like a perfect woman, the ideal woman for him, a bluebird. It's a lovely song, and the banjo at the end is actually played by a fellow called Charlie Chin, who was an old buddy of Stephen's from the folk scene in Greenwich Village in New York. So they weren't averse to flying a few people over to get things done. But if you read the album notes there and here, they're pretty much the same. But Ahmet Ertegun, the head of Atlantic Records, who co-produced this with Stephen, talks in glowing terms about how proud the label was to work with these guys, with this band, for the 3 years that they were in existence before they kind of imploded and everyone went their different ways. There were lots of egos, and everybody wanted to muscle in on and get their points of view across. And it lasted 3 albums. As I say, I didn't know any of that really at the time. It's just stuff I've read about since. But I do love this Best of Buffalo Springfield album. It is amazing. And it's got early Neil Young songs like Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing, Mr. Soul, and my particular favourite, Broken Arrow. That we must play that song. It almost feels progressive. It's really weird. And of course, For What It's Worth is an absolute all-time classic, isn't it? And of course, even Rush performed that on Feedback, on their album of covers. They did For What It's Worth. There's Mr. Soul on. Did they do that as well, Rush? I think they were very influenced by Neil Young, of course, Canadian icon. Yeah, it's a great album. And I haven't got any of their individual albums, but this one's good enough for me. But I'm very reliant on our listeners and subscribers. I know that a fair proportion of you come from North America, And if you've got any stories, any kind of information on Buffalo Springfield and what it was like to be a fan when they were making music, I'd love to hear from you. I do like rock and roll history, and this is a band that I think has a lot of stuff that I don't know particularly much about. And I'm really interested because I was a huge Crosby, Stills and Nash fan. I was a huge Neil Young fan, and still am. And I just find those 60s particularly fascinating. I really do. Particularly when you hold it in juxtaposition, if you like, with the Beatles. I mean, this was released as a single in June 1967. So it's the same month as Sergeant Pepper and the Beatles. Um, and it holds up, doesn't it? It stands in comparison, there's no doubt about it. I believe that a lot of people have said that Buffalo Springfield were the American Beatles, and they would probably have been in direct competition, so to speak, with the Beach Boys. Uh, it would. I'd love to know more about that. So, if anyone feels like writing a few words down in the comments below, please do. I'm really keen and interested to know more. And if there are any other songs that you'd like me to play, please let me know. I would love to do that. This is one of my favourite songs, Bluebird. Stephen revisited the song on Stephen Stills 2, and it was called Bluebird Revisited. And it was played around with in a much slower tempo, but with a lot of care and devotion, I think. He liked that stuff. So yeah, that's it. There's more Stephen Still stuff that I want to play from his solo work, from Manassas, probably one of the best double albums of all time, and that was only 1972. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more in the weeks and months ahead. If you have enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and leave those comments below. I look forward to seeing you again on the next video, which I think will be out tomorrow. So until then, thanks very much. Cheers. Bye bye.